Yo, so the opinions and views expressed in this podcast are that of our own and the future Bachelor podcast only, and not affiliated with any outside party or entity or anything like that. This fun podcast, though, may include some adult language.
Bachelor podcast.
Why don't we get into what we like to do around here? Let's just cut to the chase. It's gonna be a late night. If we yawn a couple times, don't hate on us. But it's just late, and we're trying to do it for y'all. But you know what it is. Oh man, is it?
Not that.
It's that time to talk about The Bachelor on our show. Yes, but before we get talking about The Bachelor finale, YouTube, I'm gonna need you to go ahead and subscribe, smash that thumbs up button, hit that notification bell so you can get notified every time we drop new Bachelor content, just like this. And if you just did, oh man, huge shout out to you. Woo-wee. Air horns for you. You know, we like to shout out our comment crew. They're killing it this week. YouTube's popping off. It's like it's popping off towards the end of the season, and now we're going into our like break before the Bachelorette starts. So I'm just like, y'all got to stick with us. We make videos every week for, you know, Bachelor Nation news, hyping us up into the Bachelor or Bachelorette that's coming in June. So stick with us. But shout out to everyone that's been in our comment section. We got the Nancy Drew crew, of course, Catherine Ann, Chelsea Allen, Kathleen Kemp, Marion SP. We love y'all. Beth Wanger's back.
Yeah.
We got Amanda Frank in the building. Beverly ROG 3000 and Patriot Lady. What's up, y'all? Leaving comments. It's just really dope interacting with you guys. We're reaching. You remember when we were just like hitting 50 subscribers, and now we're just surpassed 150. You know, I'm just gonna like really enjoy these moments. Everyone's always like, you guys should have more subscribers, but you know, I'm gonna call these the good old days. I'm sure the channel's gonna continue to grow, but one day we're gonna look back and be like, remember that time when we actually got to like interact with all of our commenters and all of our subscribers and stuff. So shout out to you for real if you're one of those, or if you just hit subscribe, joining the family. You know, we really enjoy interacting with you guys here on YouTube. If you found us, you know, shout out to you. Leave a comment below, and that's a great way for us to like stay in touch with y'all. And I would be remiss to not like let you guys know about our podcast that's like full episodes of this stuff. If you're like, we want to get to know V and Sai a lot more, our podcast, every week we drop one. We've been dropping it for like 5 years and stuff. We just really started killing it on YouTube right now. So you know, switched up strategies and everything, but the podcast is a cool place for y'all to kind of see more than just the Bachelor stuff. We talk about pop culture, what's going on. So there's a lot of things going on this last week that we'd like to talk about and get your guys' feedback on. So maybe we'll get it up on the channel here for y'all to check out. But in the meantime, check out the link below in our description. And you know, we got a lot more to talk about. So if you want to hear more, we got more. V, let's just hop right into this 3-hour finale,
which they surprised us with.
Yeah,
they made no mention of it until we were already in it.
You know, I wonder if it was like just prepping us, because you were the one that let me know this morning that they're going to be changing the time of the Bachelorette for the next season. So
yeah, they just posted about it that I guess charity season, which starts June 26th, will be airing at 8 Central. So 9 Eastern time, you know, 8 Central time, which I'm guessing it's still going to be a 2-hour long format, which puts us, you know, at the same kind of ending time that we're getting this week with 3 hours. So
kind of like we were discussing whether we're going to continue to do the pod right after the show.
We'll figure that out. We'll figure that out offline.
Yeah. But yeah, so we got like 3 hours of the finale to go, which, you know, I really do feel like it could have been 2. But
easy.
They did let it breathe with all the, you know, we started off with what did we start off with really?
So obviously they've been doing this for like the last several seasons, where it's like this live audience show where they bring in, you know, they bring in the ladies, they bring in the lead, they bring in other folks, and lately, because obviously something's got to pay the bills, we get a lot of, you know, ads. And because...
Oh, that's why it's 3 hours. It's the ads.
Well, yeah, we get a lot of ads, and we get like a big, you know, sometimes previews for different content, which this one we only really got like the big longer preview for the new season of the Kardashians, which because Hulu, ABC, that's obviously a big pull.
I also saw the announcement of Murder Mystery 2.
Yeah, exactly. Cool. So they kind of, they plug those two main things. But so we get there with the live studio audience, Jesse setting the scene of where we left off, what's going on. And the first thing we get out of this interaction is we pull in Ariel to have her talk more about, her journey, what it felt like, especially now as we are at present day when she had to find out through the television how, she was completely in the dark about the major drama that was going on when she got, eliminated. Because we can't say that her being sent home didn't have something to do with the fact that, he didn't have sex with her and then didn't tell her like he did with the whole Kaity Gabi dynamic.
Yeah, first of all, she came in looking like a Greek goddess.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Hot, sexual, just like poised as ever.
Yeah.
Just gorgeous, can't falter for literally anything.
Yeah, she still had good humor, but she was so good with her words of what she was going to discuss with Zach and everything. And it's just like she's incredible, man. That's like one of the best contestants I've seen in a long time.
She, she brought up something I talked about last week on this podcast where she talked about with the whole, him not telling her things, like how that wasn't really fair. And then also how, how she would have liked that because then she had to find out this way. But then she also said, like, with his whole rule in general, how him, like, across the board making something like that, like making a declaration, took away her agency. I mean, not even just hers, but everybody's agency, and took it away from being like a couple's decision to making it, something that he decided. And then
we talked about it last week. It was like, he made it all about sex by taking it off the table and stuff.
Well, yeah, and he made it all about, as we said last week, he made it all about him and not about like what actually like making a decision. She was like, if you had actually like, if we had actually saved that as a conversation to have like by ourselves, like in the fantasy suite, you would have realized, you would have known, we could have come to like a discussion that I also wasn't looking for that at that moment. But like, but you didn't even allow me to have that space to talk about that. And I thought it was interesting because she's the first ever person that refers to what they're doing as an open relationship, which I find interesting and accurate because I think it's so weird that this show that is like inherently trying to promote monogamy works for the majority of the season, works as an open relationship, like relationship.
It's a one-sided open relationship though. So it's still just like, it comes with a lot of its faults because a real open relationship, unless it's like discussed like that, like you're allowed to go date other people, I'm not going to date other people or whatever. But
right.
I mean, it is, a form of it, but truly, it's really not. It puts a lot more on the backs of the contestants to have to deal with that, So, right. And Zach was really just kind of, I think, he was feeding into his own ego about being the Bachelor, I think,
right.
by trying to control things, like, I do think she humbled him. Not just her, but like just probably, I don't know. I just felt like he was super embarrassed. Like he took responsibility, I feel like, for everything. Like,
he did at the end. I feel like at first he kind of like made some excuses, but
I mean, you got to explain yourself. Like, I mean, at some point you can't just be like, I'm an idiot. Like, it's just like, this is what I was thinking. I obviously, in retrospect, made the wrong decision. Like, it's just, people do it all the time. You're human. But, she was able to really, she was well-spoken about it and explain herself well, and still was like, showed him grace.
Right.
And that's just kind of the woman she is. So I appreciate that about Ariel. You know, he was like, you're absolutely right. I mean, we've seen it time and time again, though, is you're either going to be super defensive about it or you're just going to accept like I was wrong, you know?
Right.
And that's what he did. So wish I could have seen more of Ariel. I wouldn't have been upset with two Bachelorette season this year if they did like decide to bring her back or something, you know.
I feel like they would have had a similar dynamic to Gabi and Rachel too, because like very different personalities, but like I feel like they would be able to.
I don't mean like together in the same season. I mean like I would watch two
back
separate
to back, like when we had Michelle and Kaity.
Yes. So I would totally be like down for that. But anyway, so that's what we get. Then we go back into the show, right?
Yeah, we get into them being in Thailand. Zach, you know, gets to meet up with his family who's all there. They're asking about the process. It's awkward because like he kind of has to dance around sex week. And like his sisters are all like, we don't need to know. We don't need to know. Because like obviously they know the show. They're all like, you're our brother. We're good. Like,
yeah, but at the end of the day, like, I don't know. I would have probably, I mean, I guess handled it right, but it's not even just about sex. It was just about like letting your family, like, if you're about transparency and honesty, like, are they just going to find out about all this stuff, like watching it back? Or hopefully he has a conversation with his family.
Yeah.
About
I mean, they were all there at the finale. So obviously they were listening. They got to hear everything that happened at the finale. So yeah.
But anyways, so he's, you know, after he gets, you know, done just kind of talking about what his reserves are, he goes out to meet Gabi, and Gabi is, you know, letting us know, the viewers, that she has to talk to Zach and get things straight since last week. You know, there's developments when she actually is live, but you know, she wants to like kind of get things straight. Like, you know, she felt, how is she feeling?
She felt like definitely like she, you know, the whole Scarlet Letter bit, she felt like she.
Do you think she overused that?
I mean, she used it like what, like 3 times?
4 times. I don't know if you're counting last week, but.
Yeah, I mean, maybe, but I think that's, you know, accurate to how she was feeling. She is obviously worried just based on how the rose ceremony went and his interactions with Kaity and his pretty much non-existent interactions with her, and the way that Kaity told her that she knew, because Gabi didn't know that, which we learned that after the final rose bit. But, you know, she is just trying to ask him, like, do you regret what happened? Like, did that mean, like, are you ashamed of what happened between us? Yeah. Like, do you know, whatever. And he really tries to, you know, reassure her that he really is, like, he thought that was important for the relationship, and that, no, like, obviously he really sees something with her, X, Y, and Z, which, you know, looking back at it now looks rough.
Yeah. I mean, it's part of the show. You know, we go through the whole meeting the parents and stuff.
Zach's dad pulls Gabi first, and he tells her the whole story about Zach nearly dying when he was a baby, like after he was born and everything, which I forgot about because that was like something that was mentioned to a different contestant, maybe Kaity or maybe Greer. I don't remember, like on like night 1. Mm-hmm. So definitely like a callback, a major emotional callback there. And, you know, Gabi's talking about how her parents, reiterates the whole story about how her parents got engaged after 1 month of knowing each other, and then were engaged for 6 years and have been married for like 32. So she kind of like reassures that she's also had like good examples of love in her life, because I think, you know, with his family that might be important.
Yeah, but I think his family is like the perfect family for The Bachelor. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's obviously not their first rodeo. They've like been on camera a couple times now. So,
right.
But they're just like chill. You know what I'm saying? They obviously are a caring family. You know, he comes from good people and stuff. So it's just like, it just felt good to like be around some family. I'm sure it was probably much needed for both the girls. But yeah, I mean, it was pretty run of the mill. You know, she felt really good after talking with the sisters and how much love they have for Zach. And, you know, by the time she leaves, she's like, you know, really feeling it. And, you know, pretty much tells him that she finally like has realized like she loves him completely. And
right.
Yeah. And so, you know, Zach's pretty happy about that. Obviously he was probably just really nervous about the day, the way it started, but it ended pretty nicely for him and her. So, anything else really come out of that?
No, it definitely, I was starting to wonder at that point. I was all like, damn, is it really going to be Gabi in the end? Because it felt like they ended so strong, but like just his facial expressions, even when she's all like I love you, and like says like love you when like she gets in the car or whatever, like he seems happy, but like not like he's into it as much. So I was like really trying to read in between all the lines as this was happening, because I'm like, man, I really thought I know what was going to happen, but is it? And I mean, we'll get there, but we get.
So yeah. What do we get next?
Next, we get to have Kaity meeting the fam. And you know, this time, Zach's mom pulls her first and is talking to her, and she gets really emotional with her just talking about like, you know, her relationship with Zach and just like what things like that. I feel like this date really felt more emotional with Kaity, which then once again made me think like, okay, it has to be Kaity, because then even her and Zach's dad got into it more about like their own daddy issues, because they both like didn't really have good father figures growing up. And I was like, damn, we're getting into it.
Yeah. I just think Katie's a real one. You know what I'm saying? Like I think I said that last week, but not just because like, because, you know, she really is like super mature about the whole situation.
Right.
And obviously it's like weighing very heavy on her, to the point where every conversation she's getting very emotional, and she has nothing but great things to say about Zach all the way through. And, you know, good for her, man. Like, you know, it is what it is. Maybe she could have done without knowing about like information and stuff, but she still, it's almost like she had prepped herself mentally, you know, to hear it. I mean, it's never going to be easy to hear stuff like that, but she was really taking it on the chin, you know? So I thought, you know, they were great interactions. Like, you know, Zach's mom is so sweet and the dad's sweet. Like, no, it's all right. And she really felt like she would fit in with the sisters and stuff. And, yeah, I mean, another great ending. Like, you know, she looked beautiful. Like, it was just, it was just all around just a good couple of dates right there, you know.
Yeah, she really felt at ease with his family. So,
I mean, again, she spoke about like how she doesn't have a traditional family dynamic and stuff. So, I'm sure that it's always nice, like, you know, when you go to like it could happen to people like us, like, you know, you meet people's friends' parents and you're just like, you know, you have a great family, like, you know, and we all have we come from great families and stuff, but you go to another person's great family and it's just different sometimes, and you're just like, damn, dude, this is like awesome over here. Like, I don't know, probably more like when you're growing up and stuff. Like, I think we brought it up before, like how you know, you go to someone else's house and they cook dinner, and for some reason it's always like they could be cooking the same type of stuff that you're cooking at your house, but it's just different sometimes.
It's just different.
Yeah. And you're excited about it. But yeah, so when we finish up that, we go into like their final dates, right?
Their final one-on-one dates, which honestly with Katie's, it was pretty not memorable in my book. Like, they just kind of did like these waterfalls, did like the swimming, did the like, they just seemed to like, they seemed pretty much in it to win it. Like, at that point, I'm like, I don't see how this isn't Like, this is like Katie's to lose. Like, because it was like, honestly, like, I don't remember anything super different or not from that date.
I mean, to me, at this point, the conversation Zach must have had at their fantasy suite and stuff must have been like, Kaity, I'm going to pick you. Like, you know that. So don't worry about it. Like, that's the only reason why she was probably so calm.
Yeah,
like,
because she definitely seems like where we've seen Gabi spiraling for like the last 3-4 weeks, which, I mean, rightfully so.
Yeah, I mean, this has nothing to do like with like sex shaming or anything like that. But this does come with like the territory though. Sometimes when you do give it up like that, like, you know, I've seen it time and time again where people do that. And it's just like a lot of regret, not just like, I'm not saying from Zach, but from her. Like, it's just like a lot of emotions come into play here. You know, it's just kind of like, I mean, I wonder what would happen if they didn't, you know, have sex and
I
stuff.
think, yeah, that part. And I also think if it wasn't made public the way it was, because I think that heightened any emotions that were already there with that aspect, because it just added a whole different level of like, yeah, and now other people know that we had sex. And
I mean, we'll talk about that, I guess, when they bring her out and stuff, because I have a couple thoughts on that, and I just kind of want to hear your thoughts as well as too.
Right. So Gabi's last one-on-one, they ride horses. This is when we have the no audio fiasco of 2023. we, you know,
Audio gate.
Audio gate.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what ABC was doing, but they were really messing up.
They fucked it up. They were getting they were getting roasted over on every single social media platform. And we pretty much miss a whole chunk of their date, stuff that they're saying.
Which adds to the proof that we probably didn't need a lot of this stuff in here. You know what I'm saying?
Because they only bring us back to a certain level.
Don't waste
like,
my time. That's what I'm trying to say. Like, don't waste my time.
Because they only bring us back to a certain part of it, and we're like seeing like them on the horses and like whatever, and they're having a great old time. And like, but meanwhile, like even then when they're on the beach afterwards, like Gabi's like trying to really ask some questions and be like, you know, trying to get some sort of validation, trying to really suss out what could happen in the next day when proposals happen. And Zach is definitely beating around the bush. And I get like he has to, I mean, in this situation, she's already laid her love out on the line. And so she's looking for something to like prove to her or affirm her that that was the right decision. And pretty much he doesn't do anything to affirm that. And she's all like, oh, this is not good. I am not feeling confident about us.
I mean that could all go into play too, but this might be the point where Zach should have maybe just let her go. Like, what I agree. I mean, you know, like just like what you just said, if you don't have anything that's like going to, like, I mean, I think was just doing it for a finale. Like, you know, like I have to like pick one of these two. Like, it really didn't feel like it was a toss-up. Like, I mean, I don't know. Maybe it was. But I think it was more of on the lines of like it was just more high stakes with Gabi because they had sex. You know what I'm saying? Like, and so he owed her, you know, and I think again, silently, he made probably another mistake by just kind of leading her on until the finale. So this could have been the point where like maybe later that night he goes and he's like, you know, I gotta be like completely honest with you. Like, you know, I don't want you to have to like wait another day to come down the aisle and like be like wondering if you're going to be proposed to. This probably would have been a good exit for her. Yeah.
He really, I agree. I think he had plenty of time to get that out.
Or at least like, I wonder if like she was like, hey, are you going to marry me or not? Cause I'll go home tonight. Like, I don't mean to be like putting you in like I know this is the show and stuff like that, but like, just can you like let me know tonight? Like, are you gonna really make me like go and do this? But I don't know. I guess that's kind of where I'm torn because like I know that's the show.
Yeah, but
That's
I'll
the
get
show.
into that in a second. But
All right. So, anyways,
we get unnecessary. We're going back to the dome of the undesirables, as Jared Freed calls it, when the live show. And they bring out Sean Lowe and his wife Catherine, and they say nothing new. We learn nothing new. And honestly, Sean makes a lot of sort of condescending jokes.
Well, good for him, man, because he kind of threw him under the bus last week. He was all
right.
like, Sean gave me these the rule book on
and he's all out here being like, yeah, Zach messed up, and I'm all like, oh, because of you, bitch. What? Get out of here.
No, but I don't think that's fair, because Sean could have told him don't have sex, it complicates things, but Zach didn't have to go and tell the girls all this different stuff.
Agreed.
Agreed. I think he took that upon himself.
Right.
That declaration was something he decided to do, and so I would just give him the benefit of the doubt there. And also, it's just I mean, you can't really fault him, because he went through it himself, and he's the most successful person from the show that you'd say, right?
I guess one of them, yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, it's good to see. I like a good universe, a good franchise universe.
Right.
So it's just bringing back the legacy characters for, connection to the new ones. It's a requel.
It is a requel.
But anyways, yeah. So
we're back in Thailand. We get no pithy Neil Lane bit, which honestly, happy to cut that out because don't need to see it. I guess he couldn't be there, which I don't know what that means. So Jesse helps Zach pick out a ring. We don't really even see much of that. So Gucci.
I bet you it's these things are just not working out the way they used to and stuff. And Neil Lane's I'm just sick of having to do this whole thing, give you guys rings that you're just gonna give back.
Woof.
Call me when you guys have some contracts in place.
Right, for real. So we get to the final rose ceremony, and Van pulls up. And we see, because we already saw them getting ready, so we know what color dresses they're wearing. And we see a foot come out, and we see a yellow dress drop down, so we know it's Gabi. And honestly, what happens next is so telling that she already knew what was going to happen, because she hops out and she's kind of in this muddy area, and she's like, oh my God, this is bad. This is muddy and squishy right here. When it actually matters, when Kaity arrives, don't pull up here. And the whole crowd and the live show is all oh, because everyone's ah, shit. Gabi's going in already knowing what's going to happen.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, everyone laughed at first, but then it was not a joke.
Yeah.
She was she was on one. She had the feeling she wasn't going to be picked, and I mean, us as the viewers know if you go first, you're not
getting picked.
Yeah, unless some drama really went down where the other person just was I'm out of here.
Right.
But I mean, so what happens?
So she goes down there, and this is a thing I want to know, because she doesn't, from what we see as viewers, she doesn't talk first. Zach pretty much launches into his speech. So I wonder, because then when we get to after the final rose bit, she talks about how she had a speech prepared. So I wonder if producers are all Zach's going to talk first or whatever. Because even when, so she goes and talks to Jesse.
Well, thank God, because that would have been way more embarrassing.
Oh, it would have been so embarrassing to have to be stopped.
I wonder if she was no, I'm not going to say a speech.
Yeah, I wonder if she made it and then pretty much was no. But so she talks to Jesse as she's heading down, and he's how are you feeling? She's I just know what's going to happen. And he pretty much just is all good luck, and sends her on down.
Yeah, it was awkward as hell. She's like, why do you think that? She's I don't know. He's all right, yeah, good luck.
Literally, deuces, because he's all I know what's happening, obviously.
Yeah.
And so she goes down there, and Zach starts doing his whole speech-a-rooney around, saying all these nice things about the relationship, about them falling in love, about, going through each of their dates.
The syrup.
And I'm literally sitting there watching, and you could see it on Gabi's face. She's waiting for the butt. We're all waiting for the butt.
Yeah.
And then he hits us with the butt. And
it's not the good butt.
No, it's not the good butt. And Gabi pretty much starts to stop him before he could even go. And then he tries to keep going. And she's all like, bro, cut the shit. Like, you don't have to do your fucking predisposed speech that's supposed to make me feel better. Like, you could tell she literally is like, this, I don't want to hear it. It's not going to help. Like, I know what you're going to say. Like, I don't want to hear it. And he like does try multiple times. And she's like, stop, like, please stop. Like, I can't do this. Like,
Yeah. I mean, I don't know what the right thing to do is at that point. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's just trying to explain himself. Is this supposed to, this is a show. Like, he's got to say something. But
he doesn't. But you can also like listen to the other person. Sure, he's the lead, but like, if you're going to hurt somebody's feelings more by continuing out whatever pre-written speech you practiced in the mirror, then don't. Like, just be part of like that natural moment and realize that somebody else's feelings matter more than whatever you fucking wrote down in your journal last night.
Yeah. I mean, do you think like he would have been able to explain his feelings, or he was trying to or something? Like, I mean, I think he was like, you know, I know you don't want to hear this, like, you know.
But yeah, and he was hitting her with like lines that we've all heard before, like, you deserve someone who's going to show up and love you. Like, that doesn't mean, to me, that means nothing. That doesn't mean anything at that point, because she knew, he knew, and like she could tell based on like how he was acting, and that's what hurt her the most. She's like, why'd you even let me come all the way down here? Like, we've been seeing this since the end of last episode when she was like, he's avoiding eye contact with me. She's like, you knew, and he was all like, no, I didn't, and that's just like not true. He could say that he was like in between them, like obviously he was falling in love with both of them, but like there's just no way he didn't know, because like he even then later talks about like with Kaity when he knew, and says like, he's like, but you know, we had a show, so I had to wait it out. So he knew. So like he lied to her in that situation, and it's just like at that point, yeah, what are you gonna say that she doesn't already know / isn't a lie? Like, it's not helpful. I honestly am proud of Gabi for how she handled it, because like, why get your feelings hurt like 3 times over by stuff that you already know? Like, he confirmed it. She was like, adios. He was obviously upset, like, and she was upset too. But I mean, I felt like she took back some of her power in that situation. And I think, you know, he tried to explain himself as best as he could. But I think, you know, what's done is done. I think he should have definitely sent her home. Because I really wonder if the reason why he kept her, or the only reason I could see for him keeping her over Ariel is because he had sex with her. And like,
yeah, he couldn't just hit it and quit it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I don't think that's fair.
Yeah. I that's what I'm trying to say, is that like, this is not to do with sex shaming or anything. It just makes it more complicated in that sense. Like, you know,
well, it makes it, I think in this sense, especially, it makes it more complicated because of his stupid fucking rule. I think if he did it like every other person has done fantasy suites, where you just go into it, no expectations, and you figure it out as you go, I think he could have easily sent Gabi home earlier, because if that was how he was feeling, because he wouldn't have been, because he was just so in his own head about the fact that he broke his own rule. And so like, I felt like the only way he could make it up to himself was the fact of like, well, you know, and then I had to like tell her that I was going to tell somebody. So I have to keep her.
I think he did it because he didn't want to look like a scumbag. And
I mean, yeah.
I think it definitely, I don't know. I feel like it would have been more realistic to see Ariel at the end, you know, with Kaity. I don't know. I wasn't feeling it. And I felt bad for Gabi in that sense. Like,
I felt bad for Gabi too, because I really never
I think we've
saw
all
them.
had like those type of feelings before. Like, I mean, being
right.
like, you know, we thought this person liked us. It seems like they like somebody else or something, you know, or whatever.
Right.
So yeah, I mean, we go from there to
Them live.
yeah, then live to Gabi. And this is where I definitely wanted to hear Gabi out. She did say a couple things, but I don't know, like, I mean, what did she say, like, you know, before Zach came out?
She pretty much said just like how she talks about how, you know, a lot of the things that we already kind of know, how her feelings were hurt from like being like how this, like watching it back hurts even more because seeing how everything played out, she didn't know that like it played out the way that it did. And she didn't know that, you know, he used her name, that he was gonna use her name. The only, you know, I mean, Kaity was the one who kind of like broke that news to her at the rose ceremony. And of course she thought that like Ariel might have known then too, which doesn't really help. And then, you know, she just is still like disappointed in how Zach handled it. And I just think, you know, she has every right to be disappointed in that as well, because I just don't think he thought as much about her feelings in all of that.
Yeah. So then they bring Zach out and she gets a chance to talk to him about it. And she kind of like, it wasn't good. You know, it wasn't good for Zach. You know, she was just kind of like she felt really kind of like taken advantage of.
Right. And blindsided. And like, cause he said it was going to stay between them and it didn't. And then she's like, and now like, I feel like shame that I shouldn't have to feel because my business is all over national television. And it was something that, you know, we both consented to. And we both like, you know, and she's like, that was like a very small aspect of our night together in totality. But like, because of how this all played out, and because she even says, she's like, I mean, like, I guess sex sells, but like, that isn't fair to me. I'm a person.
Yeah. I find it interesting because it's like, yeah, maybe they did agree on it, but like, you have to admit that you're on a national television show. Like, you know? This kind of comes with the territory here. I mean, yeah, he did say...
But the whole him talking about it doesn't come with... The people can assume that comes with the territory, but like him going around and telling, you know, the other women and him like making, you know...
But he's not the first one to do that. Like, look at Hannah Brown. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So it's like, it's just... I'm just saying that it's been done before. Like, it's not like this is some like huge betrayal or something. Like... It just kind of comes with like, it's just kind of like sex is kind of talked about on the show. Like he made the mistake again of being like, we'll just keep this between us. But like,
right. Well, he helped stigmatize it more because I've always had an issue with how this show treats sex in general.
Sure. See?
And I feel like he just really continued the stigma around it of like making it less about like their connection and more about like, just it being a physical act.
Which, I mean, I do have to say that, like, I think the show is good in the fact that they allow that opportunity if they want to explore it. Like, you know what I'm saying? That's what makes it the whole ending weird for Zach, like, by trying to take sex off the table. Right. So anyways, yeah, so that ends. Gabi is looking for love, and she'll hopefully find it. And then we go into the finale here.
Yeah, Kaity heads her little booty down. She's wearing a white dress, which foreshadowing. She like her interaction with Jesse seems way more like enthusiastic. She heads down there. She talks first, and like she, you know, talks all about her feelings and everything like that. Zach does his whole bit. He gets down on one knee. They're engaged. Ooh la la.
Yeah, they did something weird too. Like, why did they come back? I don't know. Like, I felt like something dramatic was going to happen.
It was strange that they came back to just Zach sitting there And then,
and also like Jesse like overly selling how happy they were. Like I was like,
especially because like they go back and they pan to Zach's face, and he's sitting there awkwardly because he just had a really tough like redo of the breakup conversation with Gabi, and like, you know, everybody's already like, he's in the hot seat because everyone's like, you kind of
it's like whiplash.
Yeah, and then they're like, and now we're gonna bring out your fiance. Woo! Like, okay, and like he's like and like they have to hug, and it almost made me like worry if they were still together. I was like, no, come on, like,
well,
really?
I mean, did you hearing like the girls from Barstool like saying that they had some rumors or something about the finale?
There's some rumors that like, I guess I saw some rumors that he was with Jess now or something like that. Yeah. And I was
I was like expecting something crazy like that. So
yeah, I was expecting someone
those girls are probably going to have it rough this next week. Like for trying, they really messed up by saying they had some like tea or something, and the tea was absolutely wrong.
Yeah.
And I don't know. They were trying to get some like I guess it worked for them. But anyways, so yeah, they're happy. We come back. They bring out Kaity and they're happy.
They're happy. They're, you know, they're babing each other. They are talking about how they can't wait to like go to coffee shops and dinners together. And they talk about how they're going to move in together this summer because they're both in Austin, which to me, I find that interesting. I would rather like, if you're both in the same city, like take that time to like just figure out like, you're going to live close to each other. I feel like a lot of these couples usually live long distance. So like
if you're engaged, you got to move in.
I guess, yeah. But I mean, in this situation,
if it was like they were going to date for a little while, I guess that I would say that. But if you're already engaged, you might as well just move in. But I mean, that'll be the test of it because they say they're going to get married in 2025. Yeah. Oh, like, damn, dude, that's such a specific far time away.
I mean, yeah, it's like 2 years away.
I mean, I guess it's like, realistic.
Which would be, honestly, I feel like Jordan and JoJo were together for years and years. And they got married. And I mean, they're still going great. But, yeah, I don't know.
I mean, to me, it just seems like... weird.
They both seem press trained now. Like just like when they both came out.
It's a united front always when it's the ending. Like you gotta we're gonna get a lot of hate and a lot of people saying things and stuff. We have to be on a united front.
Which and I think honestly, like I have no hate or shade to Kaity, and I think her and the women are all Gucci. Like they have nothing against each other, it seems, because they all posted over the weekend. They all posted. I mean,
they said it in this episode, like great things about each other and
right.
Stuff,
they all posted like their like final 3 photo with the same like caption of like heart hand emojis. So I feel like the women were like that was like their signal to be like, oh, we're Gucci. Like don't worry about us. So, I mean, I think they're good. I like Kaity. I think Kaity and Zach make sense. I always thought they made sense. And as I said, he made it evident in this little portion that he knew it was going to be her for weeks. But as he said, he's all like, obviously.
I just had to try some out, real quick.
Yeah, he's like, obviously for the show, I had to wait it out a little bit. So, like, to me, I'm like, you didn't. You could have pulled a Claire. You could have.
I don't know.
He could have.
Either way, he got his girl.
He was too. I think they wanted to make sure they had a full fucking season. They made sure they, pulled it out. But I mean, they're happy. They have she loves her ring, and looking forward to the future. Speaking of future, our future Bachelorette is Charity.
Yep.
And we got to see a little preview sneak peek.
Damn, they really just threw her into the house, like.
Like, they literally, I mean, because so when we watched...
That was like last week or the week before. They just announced it, right?
Yeah, and that was like filmed 2 weeks prior to that.
Yeah. Wow.
So like it's probably been like a month-ish.
Wow.
So...
yeah, I mean, it's just crazy that they've already like... They're
because the fact that they could already say when it's going to air, I'm like, oh my God. So it's going to be a decently quick turnaround, I guess, but... This has to be about normal because we're kind of, because we started like we usually would start like right at this top of January for the Bachelor season, and we were like third week of January for this season. So maybe that's why they had to just like pretty much expedite just getting her out there.
What about the undercover brother?
So her brother is the first one out the limo, and they preview like him putting on like a wig and a fake mustache to like try to sneak, like to spy on these dudes to like, because he was like, all men are dogs. I'm going to make sure like none of them like screw my sister over. So I don't know.
I don't know how I feel about it, like a family, your brother being there on the night where you're meeting like a bunch of guys.
I don't know.
Like, do you think he's gonna be like in like acting like one of the suitors?
Like, I think maybe.
I love how Jesse was like that ridiculous disguise.
It is. It looks really like they're hurting for money over there.
Like, why to give up a Jerry curl and like the terrible like
the worst, like most like synthetic looking wig you could find, like
and the mustache.
Bad.
Yeah. Anyways, we're gonna call it there. You know, it's a late night. We still got a rest of a show to watch. So if you guys want to hear more, make sure you're listening to the podcast. You know, let us know. What do you think about the finale? Do you think, you know, Kaity and Zach make a good couple? How do you feel about Gabi's exit and how she, you know, and her and Ariel got to confront Zach? What do you guys think about that? Let us know in the comments below, because we want to shout you out next episode, and we're gonna keep this party rolling. So don't get lost. Just because the season's over doesn't mean we don't have Bachelor stuff to talk about. There's always stuff now in Bachelor Nation that will keep us until the Bachelorette starts. So make sure you're subscribing. Make sure you're finding us wherever you listen to podcasts, and leaving a comment below, because we're still gonna be shouting y'all out each week. So appreciate y'all for going on. I would say let's just give us a round of applause for making it another season. You know what I'm saying?
Woo!
Oh man. So yeah, check us out when we get to talking about charity season, and it's been a pleasure going on this season with y'all. So keep it locked here with Future Bachelor. You know what I mean?
Future Bachelor Podcast.